Hi, my name is Rachel, and we're going to be talking about the anatomy of the special senses today. So first, we're going to be talking about hearing, and we're going to start with the ear. So right here, this outside of the ear is your external ear. You have your middle ear and your inner ear. On the outside, you have your auricle. You have your external auditory meatus, which comes into your tympanic membrane, which is also called your eardrum. You have your auditory ossicles. Ossicles just mean very small bones. You have your malleus, your incus, and your stapes. I like to think MIS, M-I-S, malleus, incus, and stapes. The stapes connects to your cochlea through here. The cochlea kind of looks like a snail. The stapes connects to the cochlea through the oval window. These are your semicircular canals through here. And this is your auditory tube. So that's everything on that. All right, so we have a larger model of your cochlea and your semicircular canals. And everything from the cochlea up is considered your vestibular complex, which is used primarily for balance and perception of orientation, while your cochlea is used just for hearing. On the outside here, we have the circular window here, which looks like a circle, so that makes sense, and your oval window, which connects to your stapes that I had mentioned earlier. If you swing around here on the inside, you have your utricle, your saccule, and your ampulla. If you orient this over here, this is a cross-section of the cochlea where you have your spiral organ, also called your organ of Corti, which is the receptor organ for hearing. So this is a larger version of your spiral organ or your organ of Corti, surrounded by perilymph in here. And inside here you have your endolymph. You have your basilar membrane. These are hair cells, which will send signals to sensory neurons. You have your tectorial membrane. And lastly, you have your vestibular membrane. All right, moving on to the olfactory structures. We have your external nares right here. We have your frontal sinus, your sphenoid sinus, and your nasal concha. We have your inferior nasal concha, superior nasal concha, and middle nasal concha. Lastly, I'll go to the brain. Okay, so here's a cross-section of the brain, and if you flip it around here, on the bottom, you can see the olfactory tract, your olfactory bulb, and your olfactory bulb connects to your cribriform plate of your ethmoid bone, and that's where your olfactory nerves will branch through.
Ears your body has two. This is what they do. Sound vibrations are waves, cause they make receptors stimulate. Sound funneled out of the sky makes eardrums vibrate. Pass through the tiny bones three. Yeah, over window it's reached. Vibrations pass through cochlea, cause three chambers are filled with fluids that stimulate the hair cells. Auditory nerve to the brain. So if I turn out eardrum in the head, outer structure filled with air, malleus in the staples, middle ear, vestibular system, cochlea. These are the parts for hearing. Vestibular system canals. At the end, the jet-like cupula. Fluid moves sending to the mind. All day and all night. Utricle and saccule. The jet
be talking about the anatomy of the eyeball. So first here we have the outside of the eyeball, which is covered by conjunctiva, which is a mucous membrane that covers the front of the eyeball. And the conjunctiva starts at the edge of the cornea, and it goes behind the eye and loops back forward to be in the inside surface of the eyelids. Here we have 4 rectus muscles of the eyeball: the superior rectus, the lateral rectus, and you have the inferior rectus. And we also have the oblique muscles, and this is your superior oblique muscle. And if you can see back here, the inferior oblique muscle. And on this model, you have your lacrimal gland, which helps with creating the tears. And the tears flow down and drain out into small pores, which then go to the lacrimal sac, which then drains into the nasal lacrimal duct, which empties the tears into the nasal cavity. Alright, so the outer wall of the eye is the sclera. The sclera is white, fibrous, is white and fibrous and composed of collagen. It helps maintain the shape of the eye and provides protection from internal and external pressure. And then on the side we have the cornea. And the cornea is the clear front surface of the eye. The cornea consists of multiple layers, and it covers the iris and the pupil in the interior chamber of the eye. It's responsible for majority of the eye's ability to reflect light. Alright, and on the back we have I don't know if you can't really see it on this model, but the macula, which is a pigmented area of the retina, and it's responsible for central vision. And then inside of the macula would be the fova, and the fova is like extreme central vision. And alright, so here we have the retina, which is the sensory portion of the eye, and it contains layers of photoreceptors, nerves, and supporting cells. The retina is connected to the brain via the optic nerve, and there are 2 types of photoreceptors in the retina, the rods and cones. There are 6 million cones, which are the red, green, and blue. And cones provide the color sensitivity, and rods are, they have 120 million of them, and they're more sensitive than the cones, and they're responsible for the dark adapted or scopic vision. And you can remember cones because cones is color, so CC. And then right here in the back we have the optic nerve, and the optic nerve is also known as cranial nerve number 2, and it transmits information from the retina to the brain. And above the optic nerve you have the optic disc, which is also known as a blind spot because it doesn't have photoreceptor cells. And it's the region where the optic nerve forms and connects to the brain. And where the 2 optic nerves cross over would be the optic chiasma, and the optic tract is just a pathway between the optic chiasma and the brain. Alright, so right here we have the choroid, which is a layer of connective tissue between the retina and the sclera that provides nutrients to the retina. Over here we have the pupil, which is the black part of the eye. It's the opening of the iris that allows light to enter. And this part right here is the iris, which surrounds the pupil and it regulates its size in response to light. The iris is the color part of the eye. And the internal eye is divided into 2 cavities, the anterior cavity and the posterior cavity. The posterior cavity is lined entirely by the retina, and the anterior cavity is the front of the eye, which is subdivided by the iris into 2 chambers, the anterior and posterior chambers.
The outer tunic, sclera is white, Cornea's clear, it refracts a light. Through the pupil, light waves will go. Through the anterior cavity, aqueous humor, in it you'll see. Excess humor, glaucoma, oh no. Circular and radial muscles, in iris they are found. Controls amount of light waves, pupil iris it surrounds. The middle tunic, ciliary body, choroid coat and iris you see. To the lens the light next will go. There are ligaments suspensory, hold the lens in place effectively. A cloudy, opaque lens cataract. Ciliary muscles change the shape of the lens, focusing close accommodation for objects near the muscles contract. Nearsighted is myopia, fixed with a concave lens. Farsighted hyperopia, correct with convex lens. The posterior cavity, in a vitreous humor you'll see. Jelly-like keeps eye shape intact. The inner tunic, the retina is found. Photoreceptors are all around for color detail cones, red, green, and blue. Macula lutea, retina central zone. Fovea centralis, a dipple of cones, produces sharpest vision for you. The retinal neurons form the optic nerve number 2. Your optic disc or blind spots found where blood vessels come through. Use the many more rods when light is dim. You need light sensitive rhodopsin, the vitamin A night blindness for you. Each eye's outside view at chiasma cross made. The eyes inside view, brain and eyesight the same. Occipital lobe interprets the view. And that's how the eye works for you.